Welcome to Black Queens Uncut. Grab your wine, your vape, or whatever you need to relax so we can get into this queen chat. I'm Monique Loveless. Queens, tell them where they can no, don't tell them where they can find you, but say who you are.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Kiki Boom Boom.
Hey guys, what's up? It's TK Trinidad, and we have a special, amazing guest. I'd say he's like my cousin from another mother, not quite my brother. He is the king of shade. He is the most amazing fitness inspiration you can go. So definitely check out his IG. He's also a lawyer. He does so many amazing things, and he's vegan. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but still amazing things. Please welcome Shaka Strong.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Yes, we're so happy to have you as today. Well, this month is our Black Men's edition. So it's the month of November. We felt like it was burly and we needed, some men to come on. But today we'll be talking about Black masculinity and kind of just how it's out there. Like, we get such a different vibe from it all the time. So we're happy to have you. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump into it and ask everybody across the board, what is your idea of Black masculinity?
I think it's really dependent on the person. So for me, it's a little bit more traditional. Like, to me, it's a turn on if you can know how to change a tire and you can do things that are more, on the traditional sense, but that's a personal thing. But it kind of goes to that, the last episode we did is where it's that confidence. So, the masculine and feminine, we all embody that. But to me, the masculine relates to just the confidence that person has. And in particular, with this conversation, men.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure if I really know what Black masculinity is, because I feel like, and this goes back to what we talked about before, our slave period, where masculinity was put on our Black men by white men. So it really wasn't like a viewpoint of what we got to see of Black men. And I like to say more, because I always say boys compared to men, and I think masculinity is more of a man, I would feel like it's more of a man, like a more mature man, because there is a difference between a boy and a man, and no matter what age you are. So I really do feel like I'm not sure if I really know, because it's still a Western European idea of masculinity, if that makes sense.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't know if I know, and I know today it really depends on the individual, because I think masculinity looks different on different men, and I think there's just so many different forms of who men are and types of men, and you have cis men, cisgendered men, trans men, gay men, straight men. So I think it really all depends on the individual. And I think society had made this thing of like what masculinity should have been back then, what femininity should have been, and that's not what it is today. And that's why I said it all depends on who you are, I think. Because I think we're kind of getting rid of those norms of like blue has to be for a boy, pink has to be for a girl, boys must do this, girls must. So I think everything is changing, and I love that it actually is changing. So I really think it depends on the individual, but I'm not sure if I know the exact definition.
Right.
Or can speak to it.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think it's definitely changing now, but I think when we talk about that masculinity, I think it was kind of placed upon us, right? And so even when I got the question, I was wondering, what is Black masculinity to me? It's very personal to me, but what it's always been to me has been hyper masculine. It's always had to be at the very edge of the spectrum where it's the most masculine. So whatever that is for me, or how it looked for other people, it had to be that. And I think that was put upon us as being protectors of our community, being protectors of our community when we were in a state of really having no sort of power at all. And so that is what I see it as. And I think we get that perception when it comes to, things like police officers and the way we're perceived in the media as well, because of that hyper masculinity. But now we're aggressors rather than people that are defenders and protectors.
Right. And I definitely agree with that. Which brings to the question of, do you feel like you're, as a Black man in different ways from Black women or other women, or just when, like you said, police brutality? Do you ever feel like actually, I feel like it's a two-part question. What do you feel like what is your personal take on masculinity? And also, do you ever feel like it's attacked if it's not within the realm of what society says it is?
Yeah, I think my personal view of masculinity has always been confidence in myself, right? If I'm confident, that's me and that's masculine for me. That's how I perceive it. So it's always been about confidence, but it's always been that confidence has always been rooted also in physicality, that I've always felt like I need to be able to physically protect myself and others. And maybe that's why I'm into fitness and why, I went this route. Maybe that's part of that sort of psychology, but that's what's been for me, is that physically as well, I need to be able to embody this idea of protector.
Yeah. Have you been, and this will go out to the ladies too, have you personally feel like you've been attacked for your being, Black and having that, the idea of society's masculinity thoughts?
Well, yeah, of course, just as in situations growing up, especially when I got into a lot of fights, I was never the aggressor. I always responded. That was something my mom taught me. But how many times I was sent to the principal's office as the aggressor? I was the one that got in trouble because I was perceived as, oh, he's Black, he's violent, he's dangerous. Didn't hit anybody else first, didn't make the first move, but that was a perception. So I always felt attacked growing up in that way.
Yeah. Ladies, do y'all feel like this is coming from a personal sense? Do y'all feel like y'all attack Black men's masculinity? Because sometimes I feel like I do. I'm gonna go ahead and own it. I do feel like sometimes
the first step is accountability.
Yes, right, exactly.
I feel like for me, I personally don't, but I do know there are women who do. And I know because we talked about this on past episodes. I think as people, we don't know how to speak to each other. Mm-hmm. And when you get angry, the first thing you do is you will attack a man's anything to make them feel low about themselves. And men do it to women, but I do think there is a majority of women who do it. I don't, but I know for me, society-wise, I've been attacked about my femininity and how I'm not as feminine as some women should be according to society, because that's not a real fucking thing, and I hate that. Growing up, I called myself a tomboy or a tomgirl because I was a little bit more masculine than maybe other girls. So I've definitely been attacked on that front by family, friends, or you shouldn't dress that way, or how come you don't have any kids? How come you don't want no kids? Or you're a little rough around the edges, or you shouldn't listen to like crazy rap music that's for boys only. And it's like, no, it's not. So I've definitely been attacked on that front. But I do think some women, when we do get angry, we will attack men and we will cut you low.
Yeah. I think it really also depends on the household too. Like in my household, that wasn't a thing. So for me, my thing is never to go and attack a man in particular, because another thing too with Black men, like they get it from everywhere else. And so I don't want to be that person who also gives it to them as well. Like, I'm saying I want to be that person that like we can have the conversations, and if you want to talk about it, or if you're feeling a certain way, I'd rather you come to me versus just kind of holding it inside. So I'm not really big on that. But as far as society, I've experienced it so many times because I am a former athlete. So, I do have that athletic mentality, but then I love me some pumps and some heels and stuff like that. And especially when I was working at the radio station, like I used to do the morning show, and then every morning I'd come dressed to the nines. So I'm wearing heels and stuff like that. And I had so many people come to me. It's like, well, why are you dressing like that? Because that puts me taller than everybody else. So not only am I taller, I also look like I can like beat you up. So it's they're intimidated. And I had, a couple people say, oh, well, like you look like an Amazon. Okay, that's great. That's a compliment to me. I don't know why you feeling like that. Like I'm not gonna, my MO's not to beat people up randomly, but test me, it will happen. So that's always kind of been a thing.
Monique's pulling
TK don't beat up nobody.
Yeah, I don't need to. That's the great thing about being a former athlete. That's a great thing about my stature. I don't need to. People don't test me like that.
Do they not really?
Besides Monique.
I know. I feel like TK probably could come off as intimidating to other people, but
right.
really not
like Kiki said, besides Monique.
Besides
that part.
No.
That no, not the intimidating part. I said because TK said no one tests me, and I'm like, besides Monique.
Yeah, exactly.
That is part. Not true. That is so not true.
In a working environment, dealing with people who don't know me and they're just assuming and they're going off of the stereotypes and they're going off of my stature, I don't get tested like that.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
It's just kind of like and thankfully I don't. But then it's also like it's a catch-22 because if I dress a certain way, they're still putting those layers on me, and then it's like, oh well, you're in Amazon. I'm like, all right, cool, and like, what does that have to do with you? So, but then I think I mentioned this like on like the episode, like maybe in season 1, like I don't mess with Karens, especially small ones, because in a job environment, I can't rock with them because if they say something, anything that they think I've done, they're automatically going to take their side because you're applying the stereotype of being a strong Black woman. You're applying the stereotype that, I do come off confident, all that stuff. And my back is against the wall. So if you small and you white in a work environment, and you're a woman, I stay on the other side of the room because I don't want no parts of it.
I definitely feel like for me, I don't get tested. Like I'm with you on this. Let me get my words out. First of all, I am definitely with Kiki on this one. I feel like as far as when it comes to my femininity, I'm not challenged outside in society, but I'm challenged in my own family. Because I did love basketball. I love basketball. That's one of my favorite sports. I played, I watched. I was like 9-10 years old and my mom would ground me from the championship and I'd be like, what? I'd be so hurt from not being able to just watch the playoffs or the championships or whatever. That's like, I was just a fan. I loved it. And then now I hang around a lot of, I do have a lot of gay friends and I do have a lot of, as I call them, my gay boyfriends. And so my family are the ones who challenge me on my femininity and, just that part. On the outside, I mean, I don't really get challenged, but I will say from my upbringing in my household, I had a lot of strong Black women. So the men weren't as dominant. And I feel like I kind of get that through my therapy. I have seen that I have gotten the approach of where I do test Black men sometimes.
I feel that. I come from the same type of family.
Yeah, people will look at me.
All strong women. I've only seen the women in my family curse out the men in my family, and the men. Yes. I've never seen any man in my family raise their voice. My family is ran predominantly by women. So yes. That's why I think I'm so independent and I'm the way I am, because I was raised by nothing but women. And the few men in my family got cussed out all the time. So that's what I see.
Right. Because I will tell people sometimes I'll be like, I want a man who will check me. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes I personally need to be checked because I did grow up with very strong Black women and not dominant men. So like, yeah, the women will cuss them out and they'll just be like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you, or,
it should be. No, tell me something.
Yeah, like, when you should have hit back, I'd be like, you really let that happen? Like, and it didn't happen. So, I mean, of course they're great men. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have really good men in my family, but I do see the challenge of how they're challenged against their manhood. And just by habit, sometimes I need to be checked in that area as well. Do y'all feel like, do y'all find it endearing when Black men are sensitive, or do you like not, or do you kind of like attack it? Or how do you feel about this, Shaka?
Well, it's that catch-22, right? So, it's okay to cry now. I feel like it didn't used to be. Maybe like 10 years ago, just don't even bother even thinking about it. But now it's okay to do it if you can figure out the right way and the right tone and make sure it's on the right subject, so it's serious enough to show that this is the right thing to be crying about.
Damn, y'all got a lot to think about just to cry.
Right?
They do.
Well, you see the Michael Jordan crying meme, how that went. But when Obama cried over the shooting victims, then that was appropriate, and it was just enough, and it was a measured tone. So that's how I think Black men have to navigate that whole idea, because the idea is we're supposed to be these strong, emotionless people that can handle whatever is thrown at us, and emotionally we can hold it all in and move forward. And so I think there's a lot to go, a lot more work to do to deconstruct that idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel okay with crying in any other setting?
Me personally, I couldn't cry for the longest. I physically was incapable of crying, and part of me thinks it was because of that idea. And recently, I've been able to cry lately. I found myself able to have that emotion. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. But it's been great because it's allowed me to tap into deeper stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you still, and this is, I feel like, because of where we are in our lives, do you still get the same from your family? Like, if you cried in front of them, are they okay with it? Or they're just kind of like, why are you crying? Like, you a man, you know how you get that?
Yeah. I don't know how it would be, because I just never cried. So people knew me as someone that didn't cry. So I don't know if they would, be shocked by it, or so I think they'd be supportive of it. Again, if it's the right sort of cry, right? If I were to break down and bawl, they'd be like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
This is not what a man does. If it was the right sort of cry, I think they'd be fine.
That's interesting.
I wish more men got in touch with their sensitive side. Like, and I understand why men don't, because, society and the way, especially with Black men, it's been passing like, you better not cry. Like, that's weak if you cry. So I understand why it's hard for a lot of men to open up and to be sensitive. But I wish going forward, like, men, like, to let men know it's okay to cry. It's okay to open up. It's okay to be sensitive. Like, you can cry on my boobs. It's fine.
Would you be okay with that though, Kiki? Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't
like
man or woman.
Too sensitive.
Well, here's the thing. What is sensitive? Like, for me, like, I don't want a man or a woman to have a mental breakdown every 2 seconds. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. But if I'm talking to a guy and I'm dating a guy and he's crying, I think it's fine if we have those conversations and you're opening up about something. I don't ever want to tell a man, don't cry, that's bitch. Like I think that's weird.
But is there a length of time that's appropriate? If it's a 2-second tear versus 10 minutes of bawling?
Yeah, we're not doing 10 minutes of bawling.
If I had a son, I would never tell my son. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got 2 minutes to cry, let it out. But I will say, for me growing up, when I got in trouble and I did cry, my mother would be like, all right, enough with the crying. So that's why I said man or woman, I don't want you to have a mental breakdown, because then I want you to get help. So if you're just randomly crying, but if we are intimate and we have an intimate relationship, and not intimate sexually, but we have an intimate relationship and we're communicating, I think it's okay to cry and open up. I want more guys to be able to open up and to be sensitive and be like, I have feelings. It's okay.
TK, you have something to say. What would you say? Because I feel like your viewpoint is different.
Yeah. The crying part, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, being from the islands. Like, man or woman, there's an extent where it's just like I was the same with Shaka. For a long time, I didn't cry. Like, it's like, nah, we just gonna do this, we gonna get it done, and like, this happened, like, you move on. Now I'm a little bit more in touch with myself, and it's fine to cry, but then it's the same thing. Like, okay, well, what are you crying for? And after you're done with this cry, did we come with a solution? Or are you just going to cry again tomorrow? Like, I think that's where
you can't punch somebody in the face. So sometimes you got to cry.
Right. No, but it's just kind of like,
I used to cry. I couldn't physically harm you. So
and we both have a Caribbean background. I think that was, for me, is like, crying to me is either weakness or productive. Right.
Right.
And if I can't make it productive, then it's weakness. So I'm not going to bother crying. Lately, I've, when I found myself like tearing up and crying, it's more of like an empathy. I'm hearing a story that like resonates with me. And then I can kind of connect like how that empathy is making me do things that I think I should be, pushing forward. So connecting it to, or if there's something that goes wrong and you have to cry for 2 minutes and then move on because you need that cry to let it go. So connecting it to productivity, that tends to work for my brain. But in general, I think my brain kind of goes, oh, crying's weakness. It's a waste of time. Let's move on.
I feel like that's what I kind of learned is that, anytime I cry, my mom be like, you need to stop crying. That's for a baby. That's, that was babyish. So you shouldn't cry.
We got to stop the family trauma. We got to stop it here.
Yes.
Right? And we got to stop that generational shit. And I get it, because I think we all grew up like that, especially in Black households.
Yes.
And when you got your ass beat, it was like, I'll give you something to cry about. So you had to do that's how we were raised. We were raised to be tough. So,
and that's the history, though, because you're talking about slavery, and you're talking about
like, and you look at our ancestors who were out here marching in these streets and getting their ass beat. You know what I'm saying? So
they couldn't cry. Yeah,
they couldn't cry. So, but I do think as we do get older, we do have to stop the generational shit and the generational trauma. And if we do have kids and teaching them, it's okay to have feelings. It's fine. That's why I said teach his own, but.
Yeah,
I don't want kids, but if I had a son, I would let my son know, fam, it's cool. Yeah, it's okay to have feelings, because I don't ever want
just the balance
to come back and be like, you raised a trash child because they don't have fucking feelings.
I think
I'll talk it out. Talk. I just hate people who are like, I don't like to express my feelings. It's like, go to therapy. Like, come on, we too. I get it. We all been there, but it's like we gotta. I think we just have to shut it down.
Yeah,
that's just.
I think it's the balance too, because I think I see. I don't know if I should even say this, because these people might know I'm talking about their kids, but I see some kids, they're just like a little extreme. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm definitely for getting in touch with your emotions and stuff like that. But to me, this thing you call life, and I was actually talking to one of our previous guests. Oh my God, I just lost her name. Anyways, I was talking to one of our previous guests about this. Is like, we don't get out of this thing out alive. So like, the more time, like, definitely take a moment if you're feeling a certain way. But in my mind, if there's no at least thought or step towards, so like having a solution towards a problem, or, all right, I'm crying too much, like, let me talk it out with, so like, if there's no at least movement forward, then that's like, we're stuck in the same pattern. And I feel like the kids today, I know I'm kind of included in the snowflake thing, but I think with the parents, it's just, you're protecting your kids a little bit too much. Like, I'll give you a story. So we had Thanksgiving in Canada. We had this Thanksgiving thing at our school, and the teacher put me on a different end of the table because she wanted to separate the kids so it's balanced out. So not all the bad kids were together. So there's not going to be some type of chaos at the table. So because my teacher thought I was way more mature, she put me with this set of kids. And I was pissed off. I told my mom also their stuff, and I was I was irritated about it. And she's like, it's one day. It's not even a full day. It's an hour. Then you get to hang out with your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas today the parents will be like, they'll march off to the teacher, tell the teacher she was wrong, all this other stuff. And it's like, sometimes we have to learn that shit's gonna happen. Life is gonna be full of shit moments, and we could take that moment and cry about it or feel about it, but then we have to move on, because life is not stopping for no one.
Yeah, and then there's the reality of children too, because like when I was a kid, your parents says, okay, it's okay to cry and you have these emotions. 6, 7 years old, 8, 9 years old, you cry in the schoolyard, you're gonna get beat up. So it's also protection as a child too, because if I decide to express my emotions and tell people I want to cry,
ain't nobody want to hear that.
I'm not going to make it home, in good shape. So that was the reality when I was like 8 years old, 9 years old.
Right. That's very true. And which brings me to this question, which is, do you think the masculinity that's being shown today, like the Offsets and the Lil Nas X's and all of that, do you think it's progressive, or do y'all think it's just way too out there?
I think it's their business. I think one thing about society, we just too damn nosy. And I feel like first of all, the way we see men today, they've always been this way. It's just that now there's social media, there's TV, but I think it's to each his own. Like, I feel like if Young Thug wearing a dress is like, that's how I feel masculine, and I'll probably shoot you because that's what he says, that's how he feels masculine. If Lil Nas X, he had a dope Nicki Minaj costume last night, that's how he feels masculine. And I do feel like when people do that, homophobia comes into play with that, because I'll see blog sites and I see horrible comments because a man might have on tight jeans, and it's like, that's gay. And then it's a whole weird fucking thing that comes into play. So I think as a society, we have to stop doing that shit, and we have to stop placing our norms of what we think is on other folks. Like if that's what they want to do, that's their business. Same thing with women. Like there are women who are androgynous, and there's women who are a little bit more masculine, but it doesn't make them less feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think as a society, we have to learn how to mind our business, because what they're doing is not hurting us. That's just me though. Like I hate, for instance, you know, the little kitchenettes for kids. One time my cousin had like a little kitchenette here, and my friend had her son here, and he started playing with the kitchenette, and she said to him, "That's for girls." I said, "Learning how to cook? Are you crazy?" Right. And that really pissed me off, because I hate when we do that to boys and girls at a young age, because kids are kids, and that's just what they do. And I said to myself, I don't want kids, but if I ever have kids, if I have a son, he's getting a fucking kitchenette, he's getting a broom, a vacuum, and he's going to learn how to do normal shit. Like it blew my mind when she was quick to say, "That's for girls to play with the kitchenette." And it's just like, damn, fam. And that's why people grow up the way that they are, I think. And that's why we put the gender roles on people that shouldn't be there. So that's just my opinion. I just feel like the masculinity is what you make it. And I feel like if your partner finds it sexy, that's just what it is.
Right. I think so you wouldn't mind your man wearing a skirt and saying, "I feel
I'll mind."
Well, here's the thing. Like, well, it depends, because culturally, like, I don't want to say like, because there's men who wear kilts. You know what I'm saying? Like Marc Jacobs looked sexy as fuck when he had a kilt on with those boots. So like, I'm not saying that my man can put on a skirt every day, but I don't know. I'm single as fuck. Like I don't know what I would like or what I wouldn't like. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it depends on what you like and what you want. If that's not what you want, cool, but don't put that on other folks. Right. Like I feel like people are quick to be like, "That's stupid. I don't like that." Cool. That's not what you like, but maybe that's what they like to do. So if a man likes to wear a dress, like I love that Billy Porter. Billy Porter, I love him on the red carpet wearing dresses, and he speaks about that. I think that's fly as fuck. I think that's fucking sexy, and it's hot. Like that's what he wants to do. Why is that my business?
Right. But she said your man.
Who's to say? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Because guess what? Kiki ain't got no man, and this is probably why. I ain't got no man. So if my man want to wear a skirt, put a skirt on, babe. I don't care. Because I ain't gonna sit here and be like, I don't know. Shit. When Dwayne Wade put on that kilt, that shit was sexy as fuck.
Well, there's a difference from a skirt and a kilt.
But it's still considered a skirt. That's what I'm saying. Culturally, it's still considered a skirt.
Yeah, culturally for us, a kilt is definitely a skirt, because
it's a skirt. Yeah. It's a skirt. Do I date men who wear women's clothing? No, but I wear men's clothing. So that's the same thing when men say about me. The clothes I have on right now are all men's clothing. Men have told me, "You wearing men's clothing." I'm not. Men have told me that.
Like we were in the same shirt. What are you doing?
My femininity has been attacked. So as I'm getting older, I'm just learning how to deal with people and deal with shit that maybe I didn't deal with 10 years ago. So I can't tell you today what I will be able to put up with. Like, again, when I seen Dwayne Wade in the kilt, I thought it was sexy as fuck. Like with Dennis Rodman in the different hair colors, I think that's hot. But that's me though. Like y'all might not do, but I just feel like we got to, as a society, stop attacking others in their relationship. Because Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union getting it on, and I'm sitting here single as fuck. So who am I to judge and be like, "That's so stupid"?
Yeah, and I think you, and that's an expression of their masculinity and their confidence. But it's just a difference of communities, you know. Yeah, there's a certain time in a certain community you can't wear the skirt. You can't go to if you want to come home alive. That's what I'm just saying. In certain communities, depending on if your desire was just to wear it as a fashion choice, then your parents are going to dissuade you from that because they want to make sure you come home, you're in good shape, you make it through your K-12 education, good. But then you come out to a different area, you're an adult, and you realize, wait, these things that preserved me, I don't need anymore, right? And I can own myself in the way that I want to. And so I think that's what you're seeing is that expressions of like the Offset. I think Jaden was wearing a skirt and did a whole campaign. So you're seeing because they have that privilege to reflect themselves the way they want to be reflected in their community. So then we have to look at other communities and how can we duplicate that privilege? How can we make other kids be in a society where they can express themselves the way they like to as well?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that you're right, Kiki. I feel like we need to mind our businesses on other people's differences. Even if they put it out there, like with Jaden and Willow, I know they talk about that all the time, how people have really demonized them for being artistic and different. So I feel like with growing up, they had, you know, that strong supportive parents to lean on when they might have felt like, you know what, I'm being demonized for looking this way, but I really feel like myself, or that I'm expressing myself at this time. Do I personally want my man wearing a skirt or something? Like, probably not. But I am in the fashion industry, so I can never say never. So
that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, yes, I don't date men who wear women's clothing, but there might be a guy that I'm dating. He might be super masculine, and we might be at you know what I'm saying? Like, it depends. And again, I've seen men, when I seen Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union in their photo, I was like, yo, he looks good as fuck. And he had on a kilt. When I see Jaden, I thought he looked sexy. So again, like, I don't know.
Yeah, because I really liked when Jaden went through his artistic thing, and sometimes when he does
so cute. I was like, do you? And they ended up being great kids. I just think as a society, do what's best for you. That's what I think. Like, do what works for you in your relationships and how you raise your kids. Do what works for you.
Right. But it just, I think, coming from the fashion world too, and this is on me. I always have it, and I'm just blaming it on me. I know people are going to come at me, but I always have a tendency to be like, oh, I think all men are gay. Personally, in my mind, I'm like, I think all men are gay. Like, that's what I just dumb it down to, because I've been in the fashion industry for so long. And at the point, you're just kind of like, everybody you come across, especially when it's a man, you're just like, oh, they're gay. But the artistic expression, to me, it goes deeper than, you know, why my man is, you know, I'm in the background. Why is my man wearing a kilt or a skirt? I may love it because I was gonna say,
even then, that, you know, depending on the man and the mask, like, the society sees it as less masculine, but there are men who are super hyper masculine, and they're also gay. So I think once people get that notion out of their head that a man may wear really skinny jeans, you know what I'm saying? Like,
or pink with florals. Like, I love pink with florals on a man. I think it looks
it. I want men to get more manicures and pedicures and clean themselves.
Yes.
I need more men to clean themselves.
Yeah, I need more men to fucking clean themselves.
I even like when guys get their eyebrows a little.
Oh my God. Pay for yourself. But again, that's why I said masculinity looks different on every type of man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it does.
A man might have his nails painted. I think that's hot because I'm into the alternative shit. I think, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but that guy may think, but he's masculine in his own. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's individual. I don't. It's like, who are we to say just because he got on Tim's and a Constructs and a New York hat that he's more masculine than the guy who got his nails painted? You know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
It's not a collective. It's not about collective actions. It's about your intention and like that energy, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about the things that you do. It's about the energy and intention behind it.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's how I think I kind of view it as well. And that's just like, once again, coming from a fashion background, that's just how I feel, because we're so expressive in what we, you know, what we wear and what we do, and the things that we put on are usually very intentional. Like, I'll go through my friend's closet and there's some things that I'll wear and he'll be like, yo, I like that chain, or I like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, he'll do it a whole different way. It may be with pink and florals in my chain or whatever. And I may go in his closet. By the way, he's going to know this because he listens anyway. I want some of his clothes. Like, he always be like, you can't go through my closet because if something comes up missing, like, I wear some of his stuff.
Listen, I only wear mostly men's clothing. I feel comfortable in it. I love it. I've had moments where I was dressed the same as a man at an event, and he was like, what the hell? I was like, that's right, baby. Better on me anyway. So I never try to put that on men because I wear men's clothing. So
yeah, I've seen guys that are painting their nails differently every day, and then you're wondering, and then they have a kid at home and the daughter's painting their nails all the time. And so you just never know why someone's doing what it is they're doing. So they might be wearing florals because they're letting their daughter dress them every day. So who knows? You know? So it's to me, it's all about that intention and energy.
It really is. Do y'all feel like, and this is my last question before we wrap up, do y'all feel like masculinity and femininity, basically gender roles, are toxic?
I don't think they're toxic. I think you can make them toxic, right? Mm-hmm. But I think largely they can be helpful and ways to communicate with one another in better terms where communication's increased as a result. But they can also be easily made toxic. So that's the balance.
Yeah. I think the communication and the understanding is there. Like I've said in previous episodes, like my go-to is to like serve, right? But the moment you take that as a given versus a gift, then that's when we have a problem. You know, the moment you think like, oh well, that's what you're supposed to be doing. It's like, no, I'm doing this because I love you, and this is my norm. But
so
the
if
moment
your man came out in a skirt one day and was like, I just want to be expressive.
yeah, no.
But again, I think that would be
the thing though, and
that wouldn't happen though, because it would be about energy and intention. He would have a reason behind. Was he just wearing it because it was like, oh, a regular
right,
day?
and that's the thing. So like, if we're having conversations, or his style was changing, and he's like, I want to explore with this. It's different, because then I could see the evolution, because we're in a relationship. But one day he just pops out of the closet with a skirt on. No, that's not.
Or you catch him wearing a skirt when he didn't know you were home. That's a different deal, right?
Yeah, that's not gonna flow. So like, and that's for my man and my household. Like, if you wearing a skirt down the street, do you? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff I've worn. People like, yeah, girls, I'm just doing me. Like, my life shouldn't be affecting you in any sort of way. So if you popping up one day with a skirt, that's not gonna fly with me.
Yeah, Kiki, do you believe that masculinity and femininity or gender roles are toxic?
Like everyone said, I don't think they're toxic, but I think they can be made toxic. I think it's very interesting in 2020, like when it comes to gender roles and how everyone's evolving and how everyone looks at things differently when it comes to that, and masculinity and femininity and what it means to them. But I think, like Shaka said, it could be something that could be made toxic, where I'm aggressive outside and I may want to be submissive that week in the household because I'm just tired. But if you step up and be like, I'm the man, it's like, bitch. So that's where it could be made. Or you're the woman and you're supposed to. No, fam. It's none of that. We're two humans. We're in a relationship. This is 50-50. You're going to pick up the slack. I'm going to pick up the slack. So I think people can take it and make it very toxic.
And it really just depends too on the couple. Chris Rock had a stand-up. I think it was called Tambourine. And essentially he was saying that when he was in a relationship, that at that time, like it's almost like a band, and not everybody could be the lead singer, but they switch off. Like sometimes you're the one playing the tambourine, and sometimes you're playing the lead guitar. Like it just really just depends on that. So like for me, I personally can't stand driving. So if this man loves driving, then I love you. Like whatever else you need, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's that thing. But then again, if the man wants me to drive him, that's a complete turnoff. I ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. I can't do that. It's not.
Unless he sucks at driving, then I'll take over. But I feel that too. Like,
yeah, nah. Then he sucks at driving, then he needs to make some money so we can get a chauffeur. But I ain't driving every day.
I hate driving too, so I feel that.
I love driving.
Oh God, my road rage is crazy. So I prefer, if I have a husband, for him to take over, because I will follow someone.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So we'll wrap up the episode there. Thank you so much, Shaka, for joining us. Let them know everywhere they can find you and what new things you got going on.
Well, you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong. Fit Club Podcast is coming back. We're on hiatus currently right now. Follow me on Instagram, and that's where you'll see a lot of my daily life. So,
is your last name really Strong?
No, Shaka Smith.
Okay, Smith.
Yeah.
Because, I get that all the time. Everybody's like, is your real name Loveless? And I'm like, yes, on my birth certificate.
That's a porn name.
No, that was an ode to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Damn! A porn name?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, well, yeah. There is that one. But
wow.
No,
those are the videos we haven't seen yet.
Arnold Schwarzenegger went by Arnold Strong and Arnold Strang when he first started, and that was sort of an ode to him when I picked that name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And ladies, let them know where they can find you.
I just want to say thank you, Shaka, for coming by. Make sure you guys follow Shaka on his Instagram, because he will make you feel really guilty about eating really bad, or he will motivate you fitness wise. But you guys can follow me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
And you guys can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. If you want some cocoa butter or some deliciousness, a whole bunch of stuff for Christmas, you go to centerin.co. and get some, all natural vegan stuff. Shaka's gonna like that.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, definitely check that out.
Really good. That shower stuff.
Yes.
For my skin.
And I think this is going to come out for Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, and happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you. Hey.
I'm a Thanksgiving baby.
Boo, Sagittarius is, but my first love and only love was a Sagittarius. So
Sagittarius, man. Blech. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love Sagittarius men.
His birthday was November 24th.
Oh.
So yes, this will come out Thanksgiving. We pre-record. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and happy birthday to Kiki. We'll post you up, girl. But thank you, Shaka, for coming on. Thank you, Queens, for listening. Catch us. I didn't say this. Y'all can find me on IG at It's Monique Loveless. Anywhere, everywhere, I'll be there. Also, you can catch us every Wednesday. Make sure you catch up with the last episodes, and this time on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and Google, or anywhere that Anchor says that we are. There's a whole bunch of them. Make sure you follow us on all social media at Queens Uncut, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Black Queens Uncut. Also, now y'all can get on the website www.blackqueensuncut.com. We have so much more coming. And Queendom family, thank you so much. Make sure you rate us, write a review, and donate. And also, we want to thank you, Queens, for listening. And bye, Queendom family.
Bye.